May I come in there, my brother? I think we need to. This is gone for me now. I think we need to look at this beyond personalities. What you are looking at are personalities, and personalities will always have their own views. And
But
very much like the last,
sorry, these are big. These are
I
personalities
I
with
I,
big
I
background.
understand that, but you see, the saying, and their personalities for a reason. You see, the system is allowing those with the view they want to pervade the polity to reign. So when you talk about those people that you're mentioning now, they are the ones who the government and the system want to be able to influence people to support the ongoing system. So for me, it's no surprise. It is of no surprise that those people are coming up and they're speaking for that, because the system is actually allowing them, to appear as though they're speaking for the masses when they're actually really speaking for the system that allowed them to speak in the first place. Now, what we need to do is to win the battle of minds and reach the grassroots. That's our role. Our role is to begin
Thank
to
you.
win that argument. We can't, you see, if you're going to talk to somebody and, oh, Pat Otomi, if you're looking at the name, yes, Pat Otomi, I respect all of them. And they have their own views. But in the end, we are in a battle of minds now. And the battle of minds, we know we're on the right. There is no doubt about it. They know. When you speak to Pat Otome and others, they will talk to you and say, well, yes, this is the constitution. You will find that their language suddenly changes and they say, okay, we agree with it, we're going to work with it. But they don't really go at the real core of the problem, such as myself and others have been doing now, telling us in no uncertain terms that the promulgation decree 24 of 1999 remains a problem. We did not have a referendum, and this is an imposition. You see, the way we do that is very, very important, and we must say that consistently, particularly to the grassroots. And you will hear me use the word grassroots. In the end, winning this argument has to be winning the battle of mind within the grassroots. Once you can win the battle of the mind in the grassroots, then you've taken the rug, you've taken the rug from under the current status quo. Then we can now reposition and now say, okay, fine, we now redefine what it means to either be, are we going to be in that, we go for a referendum, I mean. We need to go for a referendum. So I don't want us to waste too much time talking about what one person said. Our voices are being heard. We are beginning to change things. The government of the day are panicking. They are sending, because they're realizing that the South is beginning to unite, and they don't have the levers that they used to do. In the olden days, they would control the media, they will control the government, they will control everything. So whatever news they told you is what you believed. Well, now we don't allow them to do that. Others, there is alternative news to their fraud, their false news, and they don't like that. So we must continue on this journey. We may think that we are not having impact, but I assure you, we are having impact, and that is why it is very important our stance. Speaking truth to power is something that I always repeat over and over on Citizen AY, and there's a reason for that. If you stand on truth, if you speak truth to power all the time, there is no other way else for others to go. The lies will be exposed more and more. The more we speak truth to power, the more apparent it will be that those who are telling them go the other way, go the other way, it becomes clear to those they are trying to convince that they are lying. So we need to continue on this journey to educate our people about the need to go for self-determination via referendum. The fact that we encourage others to not continue to vote under this fraudulent constitution, because to vote it in is to legitimize it. It is really important that we do not focus on what they are saying. We need to focus on what we are saying. What is our message? How are we delivering it? Are we connecting with the people? Test ourselves as a group and always welcome more people on. Like the last caller said before, you said, he said, those who are still believing in that now, they will join us in their own time. That is why we need to. It's like we're the forerunners to this thing. We are building a platform that others will join. I guarantee you, a groundswell. I'm telling you, there's a groundswell that will happen, and it's already happening. And the powers that be, those who impose themselves on us, they know it. So please don't focus on that. I wouldn't focus so much on what somebody says. And as for the Afenifere and others, that's their understanding of how they see. They believe that referendum is the way to go to solve this, and I don't believe that. But I respect that's their thinking. I respect that. If the destination they're trying to go to is ultimately for the South to be able to have our own self-determination, to go back to the western region of the 60s, under Abefami Awolowo, which ideally that would be possible. But the reality of the facts of the matter right now is that what we have now, the Fulani hegemony, they will not let us have that. They will not let us be in that situation. So 1 second, please. So they will not let us have that. They will not. Sorry, they will not. The Fulanis will not let us have that situation whereby we can determine our own future. And that is why, if you look at it, these 68 exclusive items conclusively proves without doubt that they want ultimate control of our resources. That is the way to dominate us in our own land. So we need to go on with this battle. We have to win the argument. We are slaves in our land. I am not. Like the lady said, there's a lady who spoke earlier on. She said, I am Yoruba. I'm a Yoruba woman. I'm a really dear Yoruba. I'm a Yoruba man. And I say that with clarity because Nigeria is a contraption designed to enslave and to extract our resources to our own detriment. To our detriment collectively as Southerners. These are things we must say to our people on ground so they understand, to shatter any illusion they have about what contractual Nigeria represents to them, for them, in their lives, on a daily basis. So there is a lot of work for us all to do. I think I'll stop here for now. I hope that answers give you some light into my thinking and what I think. But let's hear from others. Thank you very much.
Can I just quickly say a few things?
Can I just say a few words?
Okono, please permit me. I need to go into a meeting in a few minutes, and I'm just going to drop this. But I'll be able to listen to everybody, but I just may not be able to participate. Right. So to extend what I just said, those that are saying, let us engage this process, that are even older than us, like the Patotobis that you mentioned, are doing it from a position of self-preservation. And when I say self-preservation, it doesn't mean the fact that because they are benefiting from all of it. Some of them are doing it because they're benefiting from status. Some of them are doing it just to preserve theirs and their own. The Nigerian state, the way it is set up, is a brutal machinery. And it takes extreme boldness and conviction to stand up and speak against it and tell truth to it. And you saw that in the way it's dealt with Sunday Igboho. Guy was just he was just there doing rallies. No ammunition, no lives lost, nothing. Just saying, look, we need to self-determine. Kanu as well, what is going on with him. And a lot of other people have lost their lives as a result of challenging. Now, there's evidence that Bola Ige was a self-determinist when it comes to the Yoruba people. We saw what happened to him. And a lot of other people. So lives have been lost. So the people who stand and they're like Ayo said, when you speak to them in their corners and everything, they tell you they know these things. But they are self-preserving by trying to see, okay, fine, how do we get to where we need to go without getting into trouble, without having this huge capacity for violence being unleashed on us. And there are some that are thinking, you know what, how do we do this and minimize, potentially avoid the potential for innocent lives to be lost. So what we need to do, like I said, is we the people must build protection. And the way we build protection for these people who can stand up and speak is if we're able to build critical mass such that the state realizes that it has no legitimacy when it faces the people in en masse. And so the work must continue to begin to win the arguments of minds, to begin to let people see that it cannot work the way it is. And for it to work, we need to look at the fundamentals of this relationship. And that is very, very important. Thank you for the opportunity. Keep listening to you, Commander. Thank you.
Okay. So no, thank you very much.
Can I
Yeah,
speak
go
now?
ahead. Go on. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone, or evening, afternoon, wherever you are. It has been a while. I feel we've been on marches and demos
Yes.
before in London
Yes.
together.
Yes, we have.
Um, just on the point of the point you were made, I want to actually support that. Individuals will have opinion, and let's be clear, as eminent and as prominent as those individuals are, they remain individuals. You know, their views are no more valid than mine. And that is how it is in a democracy. That is how it is in a civilized community. They can have their opinion, they're entitled to their opinion, but their opinion is no more valid than any other opinion. They can influence who they choose to influence, but it doesn't mean that their argument is therefore superior just because it comes from their mouth. So the issue is this. We know that Nigeria is not working. That much is not contested. What we then disagree on is how to go forward. What is the way forward? So for some people, they are talking about, oh,
really great way to just separate it and set your environment up, which is great and fantastic that you've set a specific goal.
some people like myself are saying, well, we want to have go our own separate ways. That is the better option for us. Now, then what happens in a democracy is that when you have different opinions, you test the popularity of those opinions through a plebiscite, through a referendum. And that is what should happen. It is an inevitable thing. We cannot escape from it, and Nigeria cannot escape from it. It is something that they will need to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
We have different opinions. We have divergent views of how the country is going to move forward. One person's opinion is not superior to another. And in a democracy, the only way you resolve divergent opinions is to test the popularity of those opinions. Therefore, the only way you can do that in a democracy is to hold a referendum. Pure and simple. This is logic. This is evidence. This is simple common sense. So the case for referendum is clear, overwhelming, and uncontestable. If you actually believe in democracy, which I don't see anybody can argue against, if you actually recognize that the referendum is the only peaceful,
Hello.
democratic way to
Hello.
resolve
Hello.
differences in civil societies,
Hello.
then you have no choice but to support a referendum. Unless you're saying, no, we will continue to oppress people and kill people and jail people for demanding their rights. Then you say so, then we know that's where you stand. So any sensible person must, and I say it must, support a referendum. You have no choice. Logic is against you if you go against referendum. Common sense, decency goes against you. So when we now get to that point where it is clear to all and sundry that referendum has to be the only way, then we can now start talking about the finer details of the modalities.
Mm-hmm. Hello.
Or confuse the situation. They start
Yeah.
asking
Hello.
you, oh,
Yes.
how will you do it? Oh, it's not in the constitution. Oh, it's not in this. How will you vote? Who will vote?
Okay.
Who will
It's it.
conduct
You
it?
have to go
Oh,
in
blah, blah,
via
blah, blah, blah.
Clubhouse.
And all of that and all of that
I
and all
can
of that.
try and add
Those are
you.
modalities.
I'll see. But the thing is, they
But the
tend
fact
to. I'm
that
a
there are
speaker on
some
there,
people who are in
so
jail
it's
for
gonna
saying
be others might not
yes
hear you
referendum
directly.
means
Um.
that not
Are
everyone
you?
has
Do you have a?
accepted the
Do you
truth.
have a?
So
Hello?
the
Are you
work
there?
now is to make
Okay.
that
You know
clear
what?
and
I'm
undeniable,
actually gonna do something.
uncontestable,
I'm gonna
so
let the
that
speaker
no
speak
one
now because
has
there's a
to
guy
be
still
in
speaking
jail or
now.
be killed was, oppressed
you know what?
just because
Tell
they
me what
say
you'd like to say, and
I
I'll
have
tell, and I'll
rights.
actually make a note of it now, and
That
tell
is
them.
where we
So
are.
because
And that is the
that
message
way
we
it can
hammering down.
I'll
Let it
engage you, and
be
I'll
clear
see if
to
I can
everyone
get you
that
on,
if you are
because there's still someone
opposing
still talking now.
the peaceful referendum of people, you are in the wrong. You are the one committing a crime. You are the one breaking the law. And if you can see, even in my profile picture, a Nigerian court has ruled that self-determination is legal. So anyone opposing it is acting illegally, and that is what the Nigerian state is doing. Nigerian state is the one breaking the law. So let's be clear about that, and let's keep hammering on that. Thank you.
And the matter,
Yeah.
hello,
Yeah,
are you there? I want to
yeah.
ask you a question. Yeah, are you there?
1 second. Yes, I'm here. 1 second. Somebody's just talking. Somebody's just saying something on here. I wonder if I can let him speak. Hang on. They just called me direct. Hang on. Okay. Can you speak up? Let's hear you, because they have some suggestions. Go ahead.
Yeah, my suggestion is we have local government in the entire Yoruba land. If we can employ people who are really on ground, that will be able to go to marketplaces and be able to engage people the same way, the way we are engaging the people on our different platforms. There are people who can go to marketplaces, places like garages, and places little by little representing the Yoruba people in these areas and be able to be on ground. Then all the Yorubas in the diaspora, if we can always come to, even if it is £1 every month into that pause, to be paying these people who will be doing
the
this
work.
groundwork on ground, that will be great. And this will go a long way, because it's more or less like employing these people, doing what is right.
Exactly.
To be able to reach out to the people at the grassroots, because this grassroots are the major people that these same people are targeting, because they have weaponized this poverty in order to really use them.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for that, my brother. We'll talk later on. Thank you, my brother.
Right.
Thanks so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a caller that called in, because I streamed this thing live on YouTube. And I support what he was saying there. The call came in as towards the end of the last speaker. So I was just trying to tell him that, but when it came in, I felt it was very important to bring that in. I don't know how you all see what is being said here, but for me, I definitely agree with the idea that was put forward here. I think engaging, and somebody mentioned it before earlier on in our discussion. Somebody talked about the fact that engaging the very same people that the politicians are using on ground, and actually matching them and saying, okay, fine, we're going to be making some payments towards them. If they're offering you 15 or 10, 20,000 pounds, we should be able to come up with something to make it worth their while to just speak truth to power. We're not asking them to just switch sides for no reason. We're trying them to understand that this is for their benefit as well as the community benefit. So that is a good suggestion right there. I'm sorry if I missed out on what the last caller was saying, but I think if I'm in essence, if what we're saying is that all of us, we're saying something, and what we are saying is this: it's the need for us to continue to enlighten our people, to wake them up, to not let any views views held by others who have been part of the system and for one reason or the other are benefiting from our system will be sort of putting out a different narrative to what we are. We need to be more confident about our own narrative, because it's a just and right narrative. It's a narrative that is speaking to the injustices faced by our people on a daily basis, particularly Southerners. And we must continue to educate and support and encourage our people to speak up, to be able to exercise that right, the right to be able to say, I am in this nation that we're creating, I am voting for a referendum, and I am conscious of the actions that we are taking to bet either to go for or support something. What we do not accept as is the ongoing imposition, the hegemony. They are so afraid of the people making a decision themselves. They feel threatened that the people who will vote will not accept this injustice. So they are speaking on our behalf. How can it be right that you go and build a road, you build a rail track from Daura to Niger, when we need rail tracks, hospitals in Nigeria? Give me what justification there is for that. There is none. There is none. And there will never be none. How is it okay to go and build a refinery in Niger, 260 kilometers away outside of Nigeria, and you're telling me to believe in one Nigeria? What justification is there? I'm sorry, I'm losing it a little bit, but I'm just trying to give you two instances why this contraption is no longer viable. There is no justification. And they say because it's one Nigeria, whatever they say goes. And on that basis, they go and build those two things I mentioned without seeking clearance or acceptance from the community as a whole or from the nation as a whole. That is where the fault line of this contraption you call one Nigeria is. For as long as we remain quiet, this is just the beginning. If we do not stop it, it will get worse and worse and worse and worse. And the people who will be suffering this are going to be Southerners like you and me. More and more Southerners will be displaced. There will be more killings. There will be more suppression. There will be more rapes. There will be more, and more. The genocide will be more. This is why we have to continue this journey every day. We must come out, and we need to reach? We have to start giving ourselves targets. How many communities can we reach a day? And who in those communities can we actually speak to? Who can engage with the people? And we begin to find a way to communicate, to incentivize them to actually continue in the interest of themselves and the community collectively to go forward. Because what we are facing is a genocide, and that worries me. And the actions of the U.S. in removing Nigeria from the list of religious violators is an alarm bell that many of us are not really alert to. We need to be. This is an impending genocide that is now got the tacit, the silent support of the West. We don't need to rely on the West, but we need to know what they're doing. So we use that information to wake our people up. I'm going to stop there now. I hope that answered some of it, give you some insight to where I'm going, what am I thinking. Please, we need more suggestions from people. I'll stop here for now. Thank you very much.
All right. You're right. Mine was a question. So I heard you sounding like you're like kind of saying there's no need for people to vote. I want to be sure if that what you said before. Before this last solution you made, like you're sounding as if not voting is also a strategy. Is that right? What you said? Is that correct?
No. I'm not talking about voting. I am talking about we cannot vote in this election. If we vote in this we are giving legitimacy to a fraudulent constitution. In fact, to a promulgation decree. I'm against voting. We need a referendum.
I understand. I understand what you're saying. What I'm trying to say now, okay, if you said not voting, so how will you convince those market women to go and vote? So that's what I'm trying to make it
to go and vote for where? Sorry.
You're saying that not voting, like voting is like we are acknowledging what you're doing.
Yes. Yes.
About it.
Yes.
But now you're saying that going to those market women to tell them how to vote, like encourage them to vote.
No. It's not to vote. No. I didn't say that. What I'm saying, let me be very clear. What I'm saying is that we are making them aware that the current constitution as it stands is a fraud. What we should encourage our people to do is to demand that we insert a referendum right now in our constitution to enable each of the regions to be able to go for self-determination, put a vote before the people. After a period where there have been discussions about open and honest discussions in each of the southern communities, in all of our southern regions, to say that, okay, look, this thing is not working. This is why it's not working. Highlight, for example, the 68 exclusive items. Put it before each of the regions. Tell them how it impacts them directly. For example, your water your water reserves in your area, you don't have control over it. Your rivers and your canals, you don't have control over it. Your mining for gold, you don't have control. It's all central. These are the things that the people need to understand. Now when the people know that this is what's happening to them, they are more likely to support the regional and the referendum to break away from that kind of a system that's been imposed upon them. So it's about education. It's not about telling people to do something. It's about explaining to them the impact of what has been done to them so far, so they can make an independent decision themselves. This is not about a herd mentality of just saying just vote one way. We want to display and present the facts as they currently are to the people, so they can make an informed decision. What we have is right now, in fact, the whole of the country, many people are making uninformed decisions based on facts and on lies that have been told, that have been dressed up as facts. For example, one lie. They tell you it's a constitution. I'm showing on the screen on my screen here. Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria, promulgation decree number 24 of 1999. That promulgation decree number 24 of 1999 is removed from any of the books that others the people are seeing. So you walk around blindly, believe that you have a constitution when it's actually a promulgation decree. That, for example, is the kind of things we need to take on. Literally in the grassroots, we need more people in each community, 10, 20, 15, 30, 40, going around to every house, every village, every church, every mosque, every Babalawo's house, to explain to the people that this constitution is a fraud. And we need committed people to do that. I hope that makes sense. Sorry, I'm very, very passionate about this.
Okay, look for a quote and thing, so we'll have this question more. All right, my question
Thank you.
I listen to what you're saying. I like the way you're talking, and actually, if you can be around, I think we can have an honest and a robust conversation. All right. My doubt in here is, I agree with what you're saying. Believe me, I think 85% of what you're saying, I agree with them. Maybe 50% that's where there's a question mark. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but it's just a follow-up question. Maybe you can also enlighten me more. I can have 100%.
Okay, that's fine.
If you agree that the voting will not work, I agree with you, because voting, like, you're trying to say, okay, you guys continue what you're doing, but referendum is not in Nigerian constitution. And getting a referendum on how to use those criminals we have, those senators and reps, those are the people that will still have to process their referendum, not me and you here.
Can I come into this whole?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Referendum is not in the constitution talk.
Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Who's speaking? Who's speaking before? Sorry.
Those are the
sorry. Who's speaking again? Sorry. Who's speaking again? Sorry. Hello.
And the state house of assemblies and our governors, those are the people that will still process even the referendum itself. It's not me and you in clubhouse right now. So if truly, you're trying to say not to make that for the next election not to happen, so how is it possible we'll have those criminals to even process the referendum? Because the referendum is not Nigerian constitution right now. It has to be there.
Yeah.
So if these criminals we have right now, we don't put those criminals in there, how would the referendum be? The referendum can just appear there. It's not a chip that you
No.
Can I answer your?
Okay, go ahead. You go ahead. Yes.
Right. Now let's establish one thing. The issue of referendum is one that cannot be escaped in a democracy. As I said earlier, in a democracy, where there are divergent views, the only peaceful democratic way to resolve those views is to test the popularity of those views.
Exactly. I agree.
That is a referendum. You have people who are exercising their right to self-determination, who are saying, we want to live our own separate state. You have people who say they want a restructured Nigeria. That's their view. You have people say Nigeria is fine as it is. We only need a better leader. That's their view. All of these views are legitimate, and it is the right of people to hold views.
Indeed.
But where in a society there are divergent views, the only peaceful democratic way to resolve it is to have a referendum. So let's establish that fact.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, then the second point is that whether it is in the constitution or not, it does not mean that it is the only way a referendum will be achieved. And I'll give you a very good example.
Mm-hmm.
In 1961, in Nigeria,
Yeah.
so-called former British Cameroon,
Mm-hmm.
present-day Adamawa State,
Yeah.
there was a referendum.
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria held a referendum.
Yeah.
Trouble
When that
hearing?
referendum was held, there wasn't any change in constitution. We had
No.
a constitution. There
Indeed.
wasn't any change in the constitution.
Mm-hmm.
We had an assembly. There
Mm-hmm.
wasn't any bill in the assembly.
Yeah.
There was simply a recognition that the
Trouble
only way
hearing?
to
Don't
get
skip
these
this
people
video.
to
If you're suffering from
decide
Mm-hmm.
their future
Mm.
is to ask them.
Yeah. Indeed.
That is what civilized societies do.
Mm.
So, yes, I will concede that getting the legislature is one way of holding a referendum. And in the current legislature, it might be difficult, but not impossible.
It's not impossible. I agree.
I will concede that if you have it in the constitution, that will hopefully enable a referendum to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not a requirement, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that is required is for all citizens to recognize
Yeah.
and acknowledge and start to speak to the fact that a referendum is the only way.
Yeah.
Once you get to that point, what you then do is you find a way to enable that right to happen. The
Indeed.
Constitution is made for the people, not the people for
Indeed.
the Constitution. It is not to serve as a barrier to your right.
Mm.
It is to serve as an enabler of your right. And in fact, that is the only function of any state.
Yeah.
Your function is to enable citizens to exercise their rights. That is why you have a police, so that people can live peacefully and go about their lawful business.
Indeed.
That is why you have a government, so that they can facilitate your happiness, so that
Mm-hmm.
they can provide infrastructure, so that you enable you thrive as a human being, as a citizen. That is why you have all the infrastructure of a state is to enable you exercise your rights. And as much as your right to self-determination is a sacrosanct right,
Mm.
the job of the state is to enable you exercise it.
That's correct.
Therefore, they have no choice. And I make this where I stand, I say this boldly. They
Mm-hmm.
have no choice. It is their oath. They took that oath to uphold my right. So if my right is to have self-determination, then they need to figure out how to enable my right. It's their job.
Ukono, thank you so much. You see, in what you said there is very, very correct. It is their job. However, there is one thing I would like to just draw your attention to. Okay, I'm going to do that now. So they want me to share the link. So I will do that. I'll do so. Give me a minute. So now, what I want to really do is to, first of all, draw your attention to that thing again. Again, when you in a normal democracy, everything you said is absolutely correct, Ukono, which is that it is their job to facilitate and ensure that you are able to exercise your right within a viable democracy. But that is the problem. At that point, once you say viable democracy, then you know straight away that we are not a viable democracy. Because of the fact that we're promulgation decree number 24 of 1999, they can do as they please, as it currently stands. However, there is a way we might be able to get that done. We might be able to get that done. And to force, I'm going to ask, and this also links to what Abdul was saying earlier on. Abdul was saying, how do we know that they are corrupt, how do we get them to change that corrupt ways? So here's a way, and it's only a suggestion. Again, please, I always say this, and I say that in all honesty. No one has the preserve of suggestion to anybody. No one has a preserve to of knowledge. You're not a fan, nobody, no one person. So please, when I suggest something here, it's only a suggestion for us to look forward to, look to, and to hopefully solve this problem that we face. So now, what I think we need to do is this. Again, our grassroots is essential in all of this. If we can find a way, if we can find a way whereby we now speak to we get in touch with each and every community, we find somebody who is a capable speaker in each of the communities, or one or two, a few speakers, educate them about the need to raise the level of awareness about the injustice that is called Promulgation Decree number 24 of 99, making them aware that it is a decree and not the constitution, and they feel that confidence, they can go, we can encourage them with our support and incentivize them again to go into the communities and to speak to people, on a one-on-one basis. What that means is that when a councillor now wants to go and speak to the people, they have to answer that question. A chairman will have to answer that question. A House of Reps in the area will have to answer that question. The people can now start posing questions. And very soon, it won't happen quickly, but we're talking, if this was something that we took on now in the South, very soon, I'm talking maybe 2, 3, 4 months, if we were consistent and we got people and we could be able to measure the track, the progress of this re-education and and raising of awareness, very soon, those who are the House of Reps and the Senate, they will feel the heat. They will dare not go against their people, even if they are facing the threat of government telling them, we tell you what to do. Because when the people start saying, look, you're not working for us, we know the game is up, we know what you're doing, we know about the 66 excluded item list that is denies access to our resources in our own land. We are telling you as a collective to go back there and tell them we want a referendum. They are going to find it difficult to do otherwise. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I think increasingly, particularly as Southerners, they will find it impossible. And even those areas where they're talking about this 1917, and I know people are going to come and say 19 states, 17 states, even those areas, it is important to understand that even the 19 states that the North are claiming, it's not 19 northern states. There's been a fraud that's been put in there. And there are places that are southern that have been reflected as northern. And in those areas, we simply get the people to talk. And when they're talking enough, even the northern people will have no choice. The northern senators and House of Reps, they will have no choice but to speak the will of the people if they truly are going to talk about democracy. So these are the kind of things that we need to do. I know it's not easy. What I'm saying is not easy. But that's the route to where we need to go. That is the roadmap I suggest. That is only a suggestion for me, but that's a roadmap that we need. We need activism on the ground, and it is important that from here on that we start imposing upon the government. Now they've been exposed that they carried out the massacre of the NSAS, and they're going to try and water it down. But we need to start making sure that the government do not use an excuse to prevent people from speaking truth to power. Nobody's walking around with guns, because to date the government of the day are refusing to proscribe Fulani terrorists, or aka bandits. That's the fact, and that is something that they are refusing to discuss. As we speak, the government says they are looking into the bandits, aka Fulani terrorists. But meanwhile, these terrorists are walking around and killing more and more people in the south. They are displacing southerners in our land. So we need to make sure we are raising the level of awareness in our communities, that you have the right to defend yourself, where a government knows that the bandits are terrorists killing us, and they are refusing to allow us to arm ourselves. I think the citizens have the right to, not I think, we have a right to life as under Section 33, and we must defend that life. In the absence of the government failing to provide safety and security for Southerners specifically. So there is a lot of work for us to do here. But I'm bringing that in there because I know that is where the pinch point is. That's where the government will go. Simply release more of the bandits to go in to frighten the people from making a clear and honest decision. And we need to be prepared to prepare them for that. Anyway, I hope that answers some of the questions. So that's what I was thinking. But I'll stop for now. Thank you. Sorry. I know it sounded long-winded, but does that make sense? Hello? Are you all there? Hello? Oops. Nobody's there. Okay. Hello? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Good. I wasn't sure if I could hear. So so if let's have some more contributions. Abdul, if you want, do you want to add something to what was said now? Because I know you were asking a question about how to get the legislators to put the will of the people forward, i.e., referendum. Does that answer your question? Do you have
Yeah. You answered it, but you answered me because what Ekon was saying. So you butcher what he was trying to say because I know we usually it's easy saying than actually you want to get it because we believe that Nigerian government are for the people, no, they are for themselves.
yes?
So yeah, so whatever you think, if you think we always said we need to, we cannot do shit. I think that's the angle we are missing this. Like we keep on saying we cannot do anything without voting those guys out. So I don't know if there's any magic because when you talk
What?
about people, I don't know. I'm learning actually. I'm not really a politician. I'm just learning. So that's why
That
sometimes I
that
ask.
that's
Abdul, actually, there are some points, there are certain parts of what you're saying I agree with. My position is this: as a freedom fighter, all options are on the table for me. If as someone who wants to be free and to get independence for my people, all options are on the table, including, of course, using the means of democracy, using the system as it is, as imperfect as it is. You need to participate.
mm-hmm.
When you look at other forms of freedom fighting, eventually it had to be resolved politically. It had to come down to a political process. As imperfect as that political process is, you have to find a way of engaging with it. And I agree with that. But like I said, we are dealing with a system that is in itself very tyrannical, very corrupt. And what we need to do as a matter of first step, to get to that point where everybody is on the same page that you cannot kill people, jail people simply for saying that they want the right to self-determination. When you have that, then you can say, okay, it is now okay for you to engage in the political process. Because if you're saying to people, engage in a political process when you're jailing them simply for protesting, then that is obviously not a fair political process.
Yeah.
When you're saying to people, engage in the political process, when you kill them just for marching, then that is not a fair political process. So when we get to that point where the outrage, when these obvious injustices are meted out to people who are simply exercising their right, is no longer an issue, then it's possible to say to someone, okay, go ahead and campaign on a platform to hold a referendum and let people vote for you. Fine. If you're saying, if you get to that point where your elections itself are credible enough, and you can say to someone, well, yes, go and campaign on the platform that, your manifesto says, I will move a motion for for referendum when I get to the National Assembly. Fine. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. And we have to get to that point. And part of it is obviously calling out the obvious injustices that the government is doing now. It cannot tell you hold involved in political process when Sunday Igboho is prosecuted, Nnamdi Kanu is in jail, lots of Biafran agitators are in detention or have been killed, and nothing has been done
Done.
about it.
Yeah.
That is wrong. You cannot have that.
No. That is
Econo,
Please,
I believe. Some come, please. I agree with you what you're saying, Econo. Okay, let
Abdul,
me use your line. Hey,
Abdul,
come
please, I have a question for you, please. Can I?
just a minute. Let me. It's not a debate.
Okay.
Come in, let me finish it. Econo, let me use your line as a medical. I see you're a doctor, right? If someone is into drugs, do you cut him off from the drugs, or you find a way to reduce the drug to the end that you're going to stop it, or you just cut him off from the drugs completely?
You win the person off, obviously, yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
Shango? I'm coming now. You guys
yeah,
just listen.
you win. Uh-huh.
Econo, you understand
Yeah.
my question, Econo?
Well, I understand the medical analogy, but make your point.
Okay, what
It
I'm saying,
seems
ba,
it seems you guys are just meeting Abdul Majid on this app.
No. Let's
No,
have a
please.
We have to
conversation.
have a conversation.
Ukono, please, can I just ask Abdul something quickly?
No,
Abdul, are
guys,
you there?
he was speaking. Now let him finish. He
No, he
hasn't
has
made a point.
finished. I want to just ask Abdul a question. I don't, please. Abdul, please, are you there? Abdul?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, thank you very much. You see, I had a quick look at your profile, and I see that you believe in the freedom for the Palestinians. And I want to just ask you, under the Jewish control of which the Palestinian people they are held hostage right now, do they have right for self-determination? And do you expect the Palestinians people to go by political process to free themselves in Israel, of which you are a believer? And now indigenous people in Africa, for example, me as a Yoruba man, do I have right to self-determine myself also like the Palestinian people that are indigenous to their land? That is my question for you. Thank you very much.
I don't see the connection of what we're discussing
No,
here.
the connection is you are a sympathizer of the Palestinian people. We understand what the Palestinian people are going through in Israel, that they are under a form of occupation, and you believe in the cause of the Palestinian people. You want freedom for the Palestinian people. And I'm asking you, why don't you tell the Palestinian people to go through political process in Israel to get a referendum, so maybe they can use the political process to vote and free themselves?
I think Shango, you're totally off from what we are discussing here.
Not
It doesn't.
off.
It's not even
This
connected.
this
You
I
can.
think it is
I'm
actually.
coming.
I
it
think
is
it's connected,
connected.
Abdul.
This
Ayo,
Abdul, this is
Ayo, I'm
connected.
coming.
This is
Shango.
connected. Abdul,
I'm
don't be
coming.
hypocrite.
No,
Don't
no,
be
no, no,
hypocrite.
no, no. no. Shall go.
You have
Let's just
you see.
No,
let's
Shango,
you
just.
you
see,
see.
you see,
No, Shango.
some of the, you
Shango,
come here, you
Shango, you
gaslight.
have. I'm coming. You have a personal beef with me, and you know I don't give a fuck.
I
You know
don't
me
have
very
a
well.
personal beef with you. I
I'm
just
coming
want
now.
you to be
Shango,
honest with
Shango,
yourself.
calm down now. Calm down. Calm down. You know I don't give a fuck about anybody. You know that. You know me very well. So if you have a beef with me, let's crash it somewhere else.
No, Abdul,
Okay? I'm
Abdul,
coming,
I
Shango.
don't have a
No, no.
problem
Hang
with
on. We
you.
shouldn't make this personal, please. We are trying to deal with something here.
Sango, Sango, let me
Abdul,
finish.
Abdul, mute
Let me
your mic.
finish.
Hold on. Mute your mic. Mute your mic, Abdul. Mute your mic. Listen, do not make it a personal thing.
We don't need that. Yeah.
The guy just asked you a simple question. He said he looked at your profile and he saw that you
It's
are
not
a
connected to what we are discussing here.
sympathizer of
That's what I'm
free.
saying.
So answer the question and don't make it personal.
I'm not going
Answer
to
the
answer
question.
him because it's not connected. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to
Okay.
answer
If you
him
don't want to
because
answer,
it's
that's
not
fine. Let's
connected.
move on to the next one. If
It's
you
not
don't want to
connected
answer.
what we are discussing here. We're discussing about something else. He's bringing something else. It's not connected. If you want to discuss about this thing, we
Let,
can discuss
let's.
it.
But why, Abdul? But why not answer and then he will tell you how he's
We
connected.
Shango, I
let.
don't have to be in this room. I'm coming, please. We're having a conversation here. I don't. It's not most for me to be here. I can go to the good. I can leave the room. I'm just trying to understand from the way Angle is coming from.
No,
So I don't
but
see any connection from what he's even
but
saying.
Abdul, you
So
need
I
to
don't
answer.
force him
Then
to
he can
answer
tell you
questions.
how he's connected.
Okay.
Okay, passionately go
You
about it.
asked me a
Let
question.
me
I answered.
Abdul.
You
Can I
asked me
let me
a
Abdul?
rhetorical question and
Okay,
I
guys.
answered.
1 second. 1 second, please. Guys, can I just say something? Abdul, could you do me one favor? Abdul, hello.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Now, the only thing I would say is this. Let me try and I'm trying to put the question in this way. The 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 way the Palestinians and I note that President Buhari spoke for the Palestinians in the UN some years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, mentioning that their rights. Now, what we are talking about in some respects is similar to this issue of this referendum because our voices as people need to be heard. So I think that is where the connection is. In terms of there's a correlation between that discussion and the willingness of President Buhari to raise on the floor of the UN the issue of the Palestinians being suffering at the hands of Israel. Now, he said they needed to have a voice. They needed to be able to, for them to be able to hear their views and have them reflected. As it currently stands, you would agree, wouldn't you, that as Southerners, there is this thing about a referendum needs to happen. Does that make sense to you, Abdul?
I think you were here when my first submission. Yeah, I understand what you're heading. You know why I said it's not connected, because what he's trying to say, because my name is Abdul, and I'm a Muslim, maybe he have known me, so he believe I'm criticizing or I'm against referendum. That's the reason why he asked me that question. Because
Oh,
if he
no, no,
knows,
no.
I'm coming now. Songo, you always do this now. Can you just stop this? Let me finish, please.
Okay, let's go on, Abdul.
I'm not against anybody for referendum. What a master is there. Personally, I want this country to divide. I don't even understand from where this is coming from. I told him the other day, I said, if only for the reason of we have NEPA in our own side, not once Nigeria is divided, the light will go back to not completely. So all our companies in Kano will continue working very well in this room. And I even said it not quite long. I said, if to divide, it's me. I feel it's in my favor. I'll have like my companies working very well. So if you think I'm against referendum, I'm not against this country dividing. Everybody that knows me in clubhouse, I'm not against that.
Okay.
So asking me the question of Palestine is not connected unless you don't know me. I'm never against anybody.
Okay, but do you, Abdul? The question now is this: the central point is this: the voice of the Palestinians was being favorably presented by President Buhari. You'll agree on that. He spoke in their favor. Yes.
Let me tell you one thing. I don't do like oh God. You guys don't know me very well.
No. I'm just making a.
I don't talk. I don't give examples with other countries. Everybody that knows me, clubs, I don't do those things. Try to bring other countries.
No.
Nigeria, no. I'm coming. You know why we're gonna have it very difficult to understand each other, because we always use this reference of using other countries. Everybody that knows me, clubs, I don't do that. I use Nigeria, apply Nigeria in everything I do.
Okay.
So bring example of other countries. It's not even if no one can say hear me in clubhouse talking about any country better than Nigeria.
I understand that, Abdul. I understand where you're coming from. Okay,
Palestine,
but
it's not.
no. I'm not asking about Palestinian. We're not. We're just saying, and I'm just saying this now. In the context of where we are in that contraption, because I see it as a contraption, and I'm glad that you want to go for separation, because that's what we need to do to be able to actually have access to our resources, and you can control our resources and develop at our own stages, and that is necessary. But in the end, you mentioned the reason why this is important and why Shogo was asking that question. And I'm gonna try, and I hope I'm not Shogo, I'm attempting to sort of speak a little bit about what you said.
I'm just waiting for things to calm down so that at least maybe I can rephrase my question better so that he can understand my point and where I'm coming from.
Okay,
Not
all right. Okay, Shogo, go ahead. If you can, yeah, go ahead.
The thing is, Abdul, we're all one Nigerian. Whether you are Hausa, Igbo, Ibibio, that is not my problem. Like I said, me, I'm more of a northerner than a southerner. I lived 25 years of my life in the north, so I don't see the north as a threat. But in the global scheme of things, on the complication of nation building, I understand the complexity of coming together and having a nation. And now my problem is this, I've been listening to you. I came on stage just to ask you this question. I see that whenever they try to proffer a solution, you always want to refer citizen AY and Okono back to the political option that we have to do this. And that was why I now looked into your profile. I saw on your Twitter page your pinned tweet that you believe in the freedom for the Palestine people. And that was why I now decided, okay, I'm going to ask you a question. If it's a pinned tweet for you on your
Okay,
Twitter page,
that's valid in that case.
it means you believe in the freedom of the Palestinian people.
Mm.
And we understand the problem that the Palestinians are going through in the hands of the Jewish people on the occupation of land, the historical problem, and what have you, and the subjugation and all of form of dehumanization that the Palestinian people are facing today. And agree it or not, between you and I see you have a standpoint that you believe that somehow the Palestinian people deserve much more better, of which the Palestinian people are raising their voices, and their voices are not heard enough. And that is why there are sympathizers all over the whole world, including you, including my own president, that believe that there should be more justice for the Palestinian people. And that was why, and I brought it back to you, that since you understand the plight of, so to say, the indigenous people of the Palestinians and what they are going through, the subjugation and dehumanization they are going through. Now, you don't proffer political solution to them. You don't expect that they should start voting themselves to power to free themselves from the Jewish state. I think that we can agree on this stand together. And that was why I said also bring that now back to Nigeria as a country. The country itself was not, should I say, an agreement between all of us as entities of that country. It was a colonial construct. It wasn't as if the Yorubas, the Igbos, all of us, we came together. It was a convenient agreement between our forefathers and the colonials when they were living, when the colonial masters, when they were leaving the country, to have some kind of arrangement where at least they want to structure, it was an investment for them. It was an investment for the British people, and for them to leave, they wanted to have a stock of their entity together, binded together, and see how they can continue with their own business venture, whether exploitation or whatever it is, with their business venture. Now we are now at a point in our history today where most of us now believe, no, we have been lumped in this neocolonialism and imperialism, that we are beginning to feel suffocated in the system. And people are rising up, which is giving birth to a lot of renaissance of ethnic nations all across Africa. The indigenous people of Africa, just like the Palestinian people, are beginning to raise their voices that we are being subjugated in our own land. We want to self-determine.
Using this
We
app
have
on his
our
phone,
land. We
George
want to
made
determine our own future. That is why I'm now putting it to you that the indigenous people of Africa, just like the Palestinian political solution, when you know you are under some kind of form of occupation, not under the Fulanis now, I would say, but under the political elite, using the machinery left behind by the colonialists to continue to subdue us in this oppression, in this entity we call Nigeria. Now, in order not to have pushed Nigeria into an armed conflict, would it not be better for all of us to stand up to say we don't want to go through this political option of going to vote and all this, and now come together, raise our voice as human beings that want some form of dignity, that want some kind of pride and justice and continuity, most importantly of our history, to come together and say we want to determine by ourselves how we want to be ruled, how we want to be governed. And if every part of this country, this entity we call Nigeria today, if we come together as a bloc, will this political elite listen to us or not? The answer is yes. So why do you, for me, why do you, instead of you, if you really believe in the Arewa Republic, this is the moment, in my own view, that you also should call on the people, your brothers, your sisters, within the Arewa land, that this is time for us also to come up together, not to wait for this political elite that all they have been doing for the past 61 years is to subdue us, use our natural resources for their own benefit, and we have a lot of, we have now the capital poverty of the world in our country, where people can barely feed, the minimum wage cannot even pay a standard of living for 1, 2, 3 days conveniently. Now, what kind of society do we want to defend? Why should we continue to defend this subhuman treatment that they are melting on us? Is it not a time for us to stand up as individuals, people that have common goals to stop impunity, to stop imperialism, new colonization in our country? That is why I draw the parallel that why should we continue to wait for a political option that does we know it will never work. Just like the Palestinians will not wait for a political option within the Jewish state to solve their problem. I hope you understand my point, and not about hatred, not about fight. All I think about is dignity for every human being within the entity called Nigeria. And that is my point. Thank you very much.
Oh, well said, Chango. Well said. Abdul, do you have any response to what he said?
Yeah, I have a response.
Okay.
My response goes like this. I don't think. I'm sorry. I don't know if you know me. I understand that. Shango, please just move on. I think we don't. I don't need.
Why did you have to still go personal? It's nothing personal. I don't have to know
let's
you.
just move on.
Let's talk about the issues,
Let's
not
just move on.
about. I don't
Please.
Okay,
have to know
that's
you.
okay.
Let's
If
move
you
on, please.
Abdul
Let's
is
just move
just
on.
a time waster.
okay, that's
He's a
fine.
sympathizer to his people.
Okay, that's
We know
okay.
him already on this app.
No.
We are just
Okay,
he's just here to waste our time.
okay.
Let's move away
Okay.
from
Let's
him.
let's let's move. Okay, let's hear from
Let me
others.
just throw. Omo, do you want to speak? If not,
Yeah,
let me throw another perspective to you.
yeah.
Omo, do you want to speak?
I
Omo?
mean, there's nothing really I want to say than look at. Shemo, àwọn Yorùbá máa ń pòwe kan. Ukono, sorry, I will explain in English. Wọ́n ní tá a bá ṣe ń drop ẹ̀ sókè, ibi pẹlẹbẹ ló ti máa délẹ̀.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much you throw the knife up, the statistics that it would always drop flat is the highest. We know Abdul on this app. All these people have their loyalty to their so-called Muslim brothers. He doesn't care what happens to the South. All this, we should go our separate ways. All those things are just big English, big grammar. He knows
Ó
deep
yé mi, ó
inside.
yé mi. Wọ́n máa ń
Ó
kàn máa ó
mọ
yé
nǹkan
mi.
ó mọ nǹkan tó ń
Wọ́n mọ
ṣe.
nǹkan tó ń ṣe. Wọ́n máa
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni
parọ́, wọ́n
gbogbo
máa
eléyìí
tàn
ó
wá.
kàn
Ọ̀dẹ̀ ló
wá
ń pè
pé
wá.
kóun kàn máa sọ̀rọ̀ ni àwa ọ̀dẹ̀
Ọ̀dẹ̀
ráyè
mo
gbogbo
No.
lọ sórí kíní àwọn èèyàn yẹn, ìjà wọn, ó gbé ìjà wọn sórí o.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bọ́ọ̀ máa ń gbé sórí ni bó ṣe wà yìí
Ó
ó
gbé
lè
ìjà
ra
wọn
tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì
sórí.
kó lọ síbẹ̀ yẹn jù ú pé kó wá sékòó lọ kò sí
Okay,
ètò kan.
let's talk about. I hear you guys. Let's focus on other things. But I hear you. Please, okay, Lou, go ahead. Yeah. Yes.
Alright. Okay. Sister Corey, please. I will make it very fast, right? What I want to say is, let me just quickly do this. It's just a couple of minutes. All right, I'll make it very fast because I'm at work actually.
Okay.
I like to read the oath of office of politicians in Nigeria out, right, so that we know exactly where we're coming from, right? The oath of office for Nigerian politicians is like this, right? I, Olowo Shoga, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, right? That is exactly what you say as a politician, right, when you get into office, right? Now, let me now give the preamble of that same Constitution that you promised to defend, right? The preamble of Nigerian Constitution is saying, I, Olowo Shoga, having firmly and solemnly resolved to live in the unity and harmony as one indivisible, indissoluble, sovereign nation under God, right? That is what the Constitution says. Now, don't you guys see any lie in that?
Yes.
When did we come together to say indivisible and indissoluble? Was there any point in time that we came together as Nigerians or as ethnic nations
Never.
together to say we want to
Never.
No, there is none. So why are you now telling me, a Yoruba man, right, to go pass through this political route and use that same fraudulent constitution to swear in my officers or my politicians, when I know that it is that same constitution that is not allowing me to have life? When I know that it is that same constitution that is not allowing me from Ondo to create an Amotekun that will go into the bush to protect my family, my fathers and mother, that is not allowing them to go armed, why are you telling me, to vote in politicians that will be sworn by that same constitution that I know is the one that is not allowing them to be accountable to me? Because a part of the constitution says You cannot hold any government official accountable for what they do or did not do. So it means you can't hold them accountable. Why are you telling me to go and to believe in that process, right? Yeah, to use election to vote in a leader that will be sworn with that same constitution that you said right now that do not allow self-determination or referendum. Why are you telling me to go and vote in a politician that will be sworn by that same constitution, right? That says Nigeria is a secular state. When I know that people up north have their Sharia law that they follow, why? Why are you telling me to go and vote a politician that will be sworn with that constitution, yeah, that says the oil of Niger Delta belong to Nigeria, but the gold in Zamfara belongs to Zamfara? Why? And this is what we're saying. We're not saying we should not vote. We're simply saying let us bring down this fraudulent 1999 constitution first, and then we can go into election. It is that simple. That's what we're saying, nothing more. Why is that difficult to understand? I don't understand. Why? Let us bring this evil constitution down first, and then we can go back to election when we have a constitution that can guarantee the life and property of Nigerians. That's what we're saying. That can allow people to say, okay, at any point in time that you think this union is not good for you again, you are free to go into a referendum. Is that difficult? No. That is what we're saying. Thank you, Mr. White. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, they denied us that access. So the people who, sorry, beg your pardon. So the people who have actually, they are denying us access to our own resources. So we are here to redraw, to redraw that injustice. This injustice has gone off long enough. 60 the 68 exclusive items has been designed to deny the indigenous people their access, direct access to the resources in their own land. We cannot in any reasonable sense continue with this injustice, and we will not, we cannot, we must not, we must proceed.
Citizen AY.
Thank you.
Can I just ask Abdul a simple question, if that's okay?
Let me say something real quick because I've been using my mic and
Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
sorry.
Yeah,
Let me step back.
yeah.
Corey was
Corey, yeah, please go ahead, Corey.
actually I'm moving to it now. When people come and say that you should get involved in politics, especially Nigerian politics, but today it's everywhere else. Now, when you're comparing that with everywhere else, you need to understand that Nigeria is a different case. Nigeria is a rare case. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that said, Nigeria does not respect democracy, does not respect the rule of law, they don't
It's
respect
not a democracy
the
anyway.
people. It's not democracy. Like Fela said, it's a demonstration of principle. Put
Yes.
that aside. When people come and say that get involved in politics to get your way, to get the referendum, you know quite well it's a form of deceit. Okay, they're trying to deceive us because they know
If
quite
you're a
well that
Christian with
because of
aches
the
and
structure of
pains,
Nigeria, even if you get involved in democracy and you infiltrate the political system, you will never get what you want. Okay, it is obvious and it is plain. These are the people that are telling you that restructuring is not is a no-go area. They're not going to grant you restructuring. These are the people that are telling you that if you go on the street and protest, what do? They roll their military out and they kill you. These are the people that are telling you that Nigeria is non-negotiable. So what makes you think that if we gather ourselves together and infiltrate the system and get involved in politically, that we will find our ways? No, this is the same people that will not allow their media, Nigerian media, to to propagate or bring out whatever is going on in Nigeria. Majority of the people in Nigeria now are ignorant because they don't have information. And because the media is purposely suppressing information. So what makes you think that if you under the political system, under the 1999 constitution, under the fraudulent the scam called Nigeria, you will get your way. Now, they have shown you their true colors. It doesn't matter. Now I'm gonna tell you, huh? As people that are fighting for our rights, as people that are determined that is demanding for our rights, okay? It's a no-go area because we know how these people are. They will not grant us constitution, the referendum. That is the reason why the fraudulent constitution is here to begin with. Because they have a goal, they have a target, and their goal is to take over your land, all right, to kill the people, supported by the British. All right. So now they go and get involved in the national constitution and voting under the same constitution. It's not going to work because they already told you, black or white, yes or no, that it will never happen. Nigeria is not negotiable. Now, 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 a protest, all right, a protest can take different means in different ways. Just like Susan AY said, we need a mass,
Participation.
mass, mass, mass movement of
Yes.
our people. We need our people to be educated. So, because what is supposed to be a democracy? The voice of the people. So, if the people come together, all right, and raise their voice and come actually become one and say, under this constitution, oh, 2023 election, it is a no-go area.
Mm-hmm.
It is not going to happen. And make your local government chairman, make your governor, all right, march to your House of Assembly and let them know that you are not participating in the election. It will not happen. That we have no choice but to respect the voice of the people. All right? Even they know that. But it's not going to happen because they purposely kept our people in ignorance. So our people do not even know that they have a right to speak up for themselves and to
Mm-hmm.
demand what they want. So I'm going to round up by saying that if anybody says, get involved in the political process, get involved in the structure of Nigeria to make a change. They're just being deceitful, they're lying to us, either because they themselves have a stake in the way Nigeria is,
Mm-hmm.
or their family have a stake in the way Nigeria is, or they're just being cognizant
Cognizance.
insolent
Yes.
that they cannot really understand why they know the problem, but
Yes.
they're just being they're just being
Disingenuous.
in denial
Yes.
that of what the problem is. So if you are telling us to get involved in this election, get involved in the political system, you know quite right that we can be getting involved for the next 100 years and there will never be a change.
Change.
So now our people need to protest, need to make their voice known
Mm-hmm.
by not participating. As a matter of fact, shut down that 2023 electoral process. It
Mm-hmm.
should not happen. But
Mm.
we know the reality on ground in Nigeria that it's going to happen. Even if it happens, and we hold our stand of not getting involved, all right, we have something to be proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And if we continue that, eventually our people will get it. Eventually we will get what we want. So we're not going to say because we didn't get involved one year and somebody went in by coup means and become the president or become the governor, and then the next 4 years we're going to stop. We are not. We're going to be persistent because that's what freedom fighters do.
Yeah.
I rest my mind. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. We
If I may
appreciate that,
just
Corey.
ask Abdul a question. Abdul,
Could
you
we,
are in
Okono,
support of
Okono?
going through the democratic process, and like I said, that is a legitimate view. But can you, in that same spirit, then support the end of the persecution of somebody like Sunday Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu, so that they too can participate in this democratic process? Would you support their release? Would you join your voice and call for them to the end to their persecution?
I have never supported what the government has done. So I don't know if
No,
you
but
want to.
I'm not talking about what you won't do. I want to know what you will do.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, support, lend your voice and call for the end to the persecution and incarceration of Sunday Igboho and Nnamdi
Nnamdi
Kanu.
Kanu.
If there's any movement about it right now that is going on about end and release Nnamdi Kanu and Igbo, is there any
Yes.
movement going on right now?
Yes,
Yes.
of course.
Yes. Every day. Every
Yeah,
day.
why? What? It's a
Calm down.
simple question, Abdul. Can you just
I'm
do
just
that?
asking. I'm just asking.
Okay,
There's
can
any
you answer?
movement. There's any movement that's going on right now about release of like a protest or anything.
Can you answer the question, Abdul?
I will support.
Okay.
You will
Good.
support.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
That's a
have a,
yeah.
I have a
Okono, go
little
ahead.
bit to
Go.
say.
Go ahead.
No, it's actually me. Yeah, I've been listening, and I think one of the fear that Abdul is actually projecting is whether or not, how are we going to go about with the current constitution, whether or not we are going to allow the thieves, right? And the ingenuity of that question is, let's look at what Babangida did. Babangida was trying to get his way, right? And he couldn't because the people stood up. What did he do? He created an interim government. So an interim government can come in into this system and organize a referendum. And in the selection of that committee, it doesn't have to be any of these politicians. At that point, you can dissolve the constitution so that the people first will vote for an idea before they even think about voting for a person. Because the problem with Nigeria is we just vote for people. Over here in the US, if you look at the ballot, the people part of the ballot is the smallest part of it. The issue, how they want to be governed for every election, they have a say. Yeah, they trust their elected officials with certain decision, but the overwhelming decision is made by the people every election cycle. Because that has not been established, so why not let's go this route? If the worries is we're going to allow the thieves, yeah, let's dissolve. We can do that today. Buhari can set up a interim government today, remove himself of the system, dissolve the constitution, and within 6 months, let the people vote for, in the referendum, let them vote for all the ideas. How do they want to be governed? Who is going to be what? When all of that is done, whatever decision they come with, then they can vote for the people to manage whatever they agree upon. Will that be something that will be too difficult under this same pretense that everybody is thinking, oh, because it's not in the Constitution? No, it's not there because the Constitution is actually not there in the first place. So why not let's get the system right? Because the last election actually is the only last election that will ever happen in Nigeria. Because people did vote the hope that what they were promised was going to be fulfilled. But guess what? Now they have realized that election in Nigeria is not the way to go. However, the democratic process is what I just explained. I rest my case.
Okay. Very interesting point you raised there. The point whereby you talked about the proposition, which is to for the government to actually, constitute an independent body of people that will oversee this process, and Buhari sort of resigning and getting that process ready for a period of 6 months or thereabouts. Yeah, that would be an interim government of some kind. But again, we have to be very careful of the names on that interim is going to be the key. it will tell you whether or not the independence and there's true independence, or it is just another forge, another pretense, because the pretense was what became reality. The pretense of this so-called, yes, we are going for a democracy, and we are only democracy in name. I want to categorically state that to anybody listening to me anywhere in the world. We are only a democracy in name. In reality, we remain a military junta. We remain governed under a military junta. So as much as I support the idea of what we're saying there, but we have to be very, very specific, and those things have to be drawn up. I think I would like a situation whereby people that are a group of people from each of the regions who are actually part of this body, who will, and they would have to be something that is all agreed on, that they will draw up this, and they are going to be communicating with the people, because the danger, I've got the document here that where how they came about, to show you how they came about this fraudulent the constitution of theirs. The government, they set up when they set up a provisional ruling council, and that is of 40 people, and they were the ones who came up with this and then imposed it without putting it as a referendum before the people. And that is the danger we need to avoid in all of this. So, like I said, I'm only stating this because we have to be very, very clear. We need to scrutinize this process more than ever before. We shine a light from every corner of the world. When we get to that point where a referendum is, and it will get there. I'm not quite sure when, but it will get there, because we have to remain resolute. This is oppression in our own land. Let us be very, very clear. We are under oppression in our own land as indigents by non-indigents. And I will keep restating that point. So, yes, we should definitely go that route. And it is something that I support. My brother, I think it was G Baba that I was talking, and support the idea. I like that. But we need to make sure that this process is whiter than white, or clearer than clean, or clearer than clearer, or, plain, simple terms, and participation of every citizen, every southerner at every stage is important. Updates, giving clear indications. We're proposing this idea. What do you think? Take soundings, not what they did. Let me read to you what they said in that Provisional Ruling Council. It said, and whereas the Provisional Ruling Council has approved the report to such amendments and deemed necessary in the public interest for the purpose of promoting security, welfare, and good governance, fostering unity and progress of the people of Nigeria, with a view to achieving its objective of handing over an enduring constitution to the people of Nigeria. Now, let me just ask you a question. That is what they wrote in that constitutional thing, that the fraud, the promulgation decree. Do we have anything like what they promised? Does it sound like anything they promised? I'll ask everybody in the house, including Abdul. Does it sound like it? Let me read that bit again. And whereas the Provisional Ruling Council has approved the report subject to, listen to the word though, approved. They approved it. They didn't put it before the people. You can see that this is flawed. To such amendments as are deemed necessary in the public interest and for the purpose of promoting security, welfare. So where's the security? Where's the welfare? Right there. Where is it? And good governance. Where is the good governance? Where is it? That is what's supposed to happen, isn't it? And fostering unity. Where is the unity? We are being suppressed in our own land. Where is it? And progress of the people. We are being impoverished in our land. That is what this promulgation decree number 24 of 99 represents. It's impoverishment of our people. I am reading direct from the documentation signed by General Abdul Salam, Alhaji Abubakar, on the 5th of May 1999, putting in this promulgation decree number 24 of 1999, enforcing it on us till today. So we have to be very, very clear. If we want, when we talk about there's one thing to say they're going to agree to the referendum, and we're going to make sure that happens. But the actual process is what we need to scrutinize. That process, we must scrutinize it collectively as a people. So we need our people on ground. as citizens to be vocal. We want people to be vocal. That no. If you are going to, when we are going to do this referendum, we want to see what is going on. We want to know what is going on. We want to see it on TV, hear it on the news, have leaflets, be part of the participation discussion. If we make notes, it goes upward. Nobody, it is sent out. We are part of at every step of the process, because that's what happened with the Brexit. With Brexit, I was getting leaflets every day, both for and against, in my post box. People were coming on the door and talking to me about it, and they were asking me for my own opinions, and I suggested their opinions. We need active participation, not something imposed upon us. So I like the idea, but we need to. There's two strands to this. One side of it is they're going to agree, they will have to put in the referendum, but we need to scrutinize the process through which that referendum will take place, and we need active participation of the citizens of Southerners in that process to make sure it's not hijacked at any stage. I'll stop there. Thank you for now.
Let me just compliment that, right? If there's anything Nigerians have told us, not the politicians, right? When a committee is set up, especially to oversee such an important thing, they've been very, very, very good. For example, the interim government had it not been brought down by the military regime, we're in the process of doing these things, right? Look at the enterprise committee, right? It depends on how you choose these people. In that kind of status, Nigerians who have not put their hand in the cookie jar, they have demonstrated independence. And the process is something we all have to walk through. For example, we are starting this conversation. They will have no choice but to listen to us at a point. Then we will shaping the process as it evolves. The thing is, whether or not they will agree to it, they might not agree today, but guess what? Eventually, they will sit down and they will realize this is the only peaceful way they can go about it. Because what we are advocating for is a peaceful transition, and we have options. Yeah, look at the London, when the constitutional amendment in the past, right? It's the groups set up in London. They actually oversee it. They are the ones that are actually shaping the direction. And we in the diaspora might actually be in the forefront of directing and navigating the process in that instance. Now we have the cell phone, we have this app, we have a lot of ways we can get input. I mean, they have Big Brother in Nigeria, people vote. I mean, it's
That's true.
We have BVN, and we have a lot of measures to make sure, and what you have just described also, we have to be careful so we don't get too much money. If the state is going to sponsor that idea, right, we have to split the resource 50-50 and put an enforcement mechanism that whoever put in extra money or whoever import extra money into that process
should be
prosecuted in the process. That way, it has equal opportunity for publicity, for ideal, because the current systems, we don't have a system. I mean, I've ran for office myself.
Okay.
And I know what it takes. We don't have anything going on in Nigeria.
Thank you very much for that interjection there, Jibaba. One more thing I would actually like to add is the actual process itself of this referendum is still, I put to the people, and I suggest as a suggestion that it would still be by UN as suggested by Ninas, because I do not trust us. I do not trust the people in power to do anything transparent. I don't. And for the sake of doubt, it would be best if they say, okay, we have it going, get an independent body to run that system so that there is no interference. Because we know with our electoral process right now, even the last election, we know was a fraud. All of the elections, the lowest turnout ever. It's what you saw in the last election recently in what state it was. Was it is it Anambra? It's not Imo. Yeah, Anambra. So that tells you that electoral process is fraught with illegalities, fraud, corruption. So we would need, that particular aspect of the referendum has to be managed by the UN, and even the UN we want the press, particularly African press, to be there scrutinizing, making sure that there is transparency in that process. I would add that to it, because this is not something that can be done in-house, because we will be building that structure. What we build from then on is very, very important. I just wanted to add that. Thank you. I'll stop here for now. Anybody else?
think most of the discussion we have in Clubhouse, I don't think there's no winning. Like it's we know you must not win. It's not winning. There's no award because we are to have a discussion with you. You have to prove me a point. I have to believe you. No, I don't have to. You can talk from now to next 20 years. I can disagree with everything you said. It's not a winning thing here. We'll have discussion. You tell me your reasons. I tell you my reasons. We come and okay, yeah. I must not believe you 100%, but I can pick some things you tell me. I used to say a lot of things today, and I agree with him. That doesn't mean I agree with everything he's saying. And there are things I said that you agree with me. He doesn't believe. He doesn't have to believe all the things I said. It's not by winning. It's by how we converse and understand each other. That would matters. It's not. There's no award. Most of the things I think we say in Clubhouse, I think most of the ends here doesn't go out of this place. That's how I see it. There are things that go out of
All right,
Clubhouse.
Abdul, I'm
Sorry,
sorry. I'm going
can
to
I
cut
just
you off.
finish? Can I
No,
just
no, no.
finish,
I'm going to
please?
cut you off
Eh,
because I feel
eh,
like you're underestimating
I
me.
take or beg you. Now
You're
go on.
underestimating us, and there's really
Sorry.
no
I beg, make I
Abdul.
finish. I'll leave the room
Abdul,
for you.
really.
Let me
Listen,
finish. I'll
listen.
leave the
There's
room for
really
you.
no point. There's really
But
no point for what you say because we're not here. We're just here to
Let me
have an
just finish my
intelligent
points now. I was heading
conversation.
somewhere,
Go
you
ahead.
stop me. I'm talking now, you stop me.
Yeah,
I
Okay,
because
interject
you're
okay,
you.
making
Abdul,
so
Abdul, if you could do
go
something,
ahead.
if you could just,
I don't interject you. When you
Abdul,
bring
can
up
I
a point
answer
where
you?
someone
Abdul,
reacts,
Abdul,
I
can,
don't do this.
okay,
Go
Abdul,
ahead, go ahead.
go ahead,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Abdul, go ahead.
I
Just,
was heading somewhere with Econo.
okay.
But intellectual, the people don't even understand where I was heading. You guys might learn, I might learn, you can even shape in some things I was reasoning. You have changed a lot of things I was thinking in my mind. You have changed a lot. Why? Because we have an open mind conversation with him. But when you come with this mentality of trying to defend, if truly you two of you have already made up your mind not to vote, you don't believe in the vote, there's no discussion here you can have. But it's when you tell me these are the reasons for not to vote, I'll tell you my reason that I think you need to vote. That's when we have conversation. But if you have made up your mind, you don't need to discuss. It's just a waste of time because you have already made up your mind. Most of these things happen by default. Do you think me being a Muslim, do you think it's by my kind? No, it's by default. My parents were Muslim, that's why. People that are Christians, they were default, that's why they're Christians. Being a Yoruba is by default. You think you're thrown from the up down to be you make Yoruba or Fulani or Igbo. No. It's by default. Your parents were that, that's why you're there. So please, we always have this mentality that we have to win. We don't have to win. It's not by winning. It's like by conversation. Let's get to understand from which angle everyone is coming. Reason was asking Econo, you are a doctor. If truly someone is on drugs, do you withdraw the person from drugs or you gradually you stop him from doing it? That's what I was heading somewhere. That's why I made that submission. But he thought I was attacking him. Someone coming to Christian attacking. It doesn't make sense. Let's have conversation. I can say things that you don't like. Yeah, sure, that's why it's a conversation. You can also say things I don't like, but how did I take it in? I don't have to believe you, don't have to believe me. Please, let's stop this because I'm from the north and my name is Abdullah Muslim. You just asked that. No, it doesn't make sense. I can decide to change my name to Benga or to anything, not knowing that you're talking to outside person Muslim. Sometimes let's stop this. It doesn't even make sense, please. All right, back to what I was trying to say. I agree with you.
All right, Abdul.
God.
The only reason why you're saying that right now, is because you asked a question where we are discussing in an intelligent conversation, right? And like you said, we're supposed to reason together and make us see reason. All right. And you ask a question, all right, because you're on the opposite side. You are on the opposite side. You ask a question, and in an attempt for them to answer your question, they came up with, all right, logical question. You're supporting Palestine, okay? Pakistan. And the question he asked you. Now you feel like they put you on the spot by asking that question because you never answered that question, right? So you want to turn it into a personal thing. It is not a personal thing. It is an intelligent discussion. All right. And so stop making it personal. It's not personal. And stop coming here and gaslighting us. All right. And making it like we are attacking you. Nobody is attacking you here. They're just trying to make you see reason. And unfortunately, you are unable to answer these questions. You are unable to come up with a discussion that you're unable to make us see reasoning from where you're coming from. So because of that, like You guys always do. You want to turn it into a personal attack, or like, oh, we are not, oh, respecting your opinion. It is not so. It is not. That's just what I want to say. Thank you.
Abdul, just
I don't know. I think Abdul
All
just
right,
don't want to.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
Now, see,
hold
see,
on.
I'm coming.
All right.
Sorry, Curry, I beg, I take God beg you. Make us speak broken now. I understand Yoruba. I have friends Yoruba, and I've stayed in Lagos a bit. I understand Yoruba very well. I beg, now God, I use beg you. Let me finish, then you can have your mic back, please. And stop using this word gaslight. I don't even know what it means, gaslighting. I don't even know. I don't think I can gaslight you because I don't even know what it meant. Gaslighting. I usually use Clubhouse. This is the first time in Clubhouse I'm hearing this English in Clubhouse. I've never heard it outside Clubhouse before. I've never seen anyone using that word gaslighting. It's only in Clubhouse. It's ingenious. Gaslighting. I don't know from where English coming from. So please, Cody, let
But
me finish my explanation.
it is English now.
Let me finish. I say it's in Clubhouse. I hear those two English. Now, you know the first time I talk. I say it's in Clubhouse. I hear those two English. Gaslighting and disingenuous. I've never heard it before. It's only on Clubhouse, and I've never using
Abdul.
I say that's me, not you.
Okay.
All right. Back to what I was saying. Cody, please don't interject me again. I take a beg you. Let me finish up. I'll leave the mic in the next minute or 2 minutes. The reason why I was asking that questions is we know how Nigerian constitution is. Nigeria, anyhow you come, they always have their way to bend you. We all know this. Election can happen, can still be ring. Whatever happened can still be ring. Even the referendum is being given. Let's assume there's a referendum today. Nigerians can still bribe people to vote against what they want. True or false, Ayo, please let me know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, but you see, that's because of because of
Ayo,
the
are you there?
fraud. It's a fraud.
Continue. Ayo is busy. Just
No, no, no.
continue.
Oh,
Ayo,
hold
I'm
on.
done. I'm
Hello,
just saying
hello.
a
No,
lot.
no,
I'm
no.
done.
I'm here. Sorry, I'm here. Hello.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Sorry, Abdul. I'm here. Sorry, Abdul. Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
All right.
So,
Back
so
okay, back to my question again. My question was just like I say, the way Nigeria construct is, no matter you know how corrupt Nigeria is,
yeah.
even if referendum is being given, let's have the referendum happens. Nigerians, corrupt Nigerians will still buy people, still buy the vote
No,
against what
no,
they want.
no. It will change at this point. Do you know why it will change? Do you know why it will change?
I'm saying Nigerian construct. Get my question. You didn't get my question. What I'm trying to say, Nigerian corrupt people
Mhm.
will still find a way to even ring the even referendum itself. Is it possible or not possible?
No, no. In the new system, it would be impossible because this will be in front of everybody. In the current system, yes, but in the new way we're planning this. Don't forget, the UN are going to be part of this. Each of the regions are going to have people that are going to be connecting and interacting with their people on ground, so that people know what's going on.
Rigging with
But
money. I'm not saying
I
rigging in the election. I'm saying with money. They can still bribe
that
and vote
well,
against.
the UN and everybody and the shining a light. This would not be possible now. Honestly
You
speaking,
think so? You
honestly
think so?
speaking, in the new process, I doubt it because it would be out in the open. The only way rigging would happen is if somebody starts bringing a gun around, threatening others, and that would not be allowed to happen in this process because that is where the government of Nigeria right now, the entire governance now, it's a gun boat diplomacy. They bring a gun and they say have money and threats and all that. But when this is going to be transparent. If we do not have transparency, we're not. That's not a governance. It has to be transparent. So, if you're talking about the current system, anything under this current system is corrupt. But when we go for a referendum, that will be transparent because everybody will be involved. If the UK can do a referendum and it gives a result, so can we. I refuse to believe that we are below that. I refuse that. So I'm sorry if I'm very emphatic in what I'm saying, but it requires a change. The foundation of our constitution is the problem. That's a problem. So that's what I'd like to say.
I think he's trying to. Yeah, I think he's trying to ask. I think he's trying to say the politician. Of course, they will make an attempt, no doubt about it.
Yes.
They will want to spend money. They will want to kill. They will want to intimidate and all
Yes.
of that. It is obvious, definitely, that will happen. But
Yes.
then that is why we're doing what we're doing, and that is why
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
massive and aggressive campaign is very necessary.
Exactly.
The grassroots campaign, that is why it's
Very much.
necessary. To
Yes.
let the people see that this is what is going to determine their life, their
That's it.
future from here.
That's
So
it.
of course they will make attempts, no doubt. So I understand exactly what Abdul is trying to say. They will want to buy and sell, definitely. Definitely, I know.
Now you understand what I'm saying.
As I said, Abdul, I did take that in point as well. I took that in consideration in my answer as well, Abdul. That of course they will try, but they
What I'm
mostly.
trying to say here that any method, I'm telling you the way Nigeria is going on right now, let me be frank with you, like to take it or leave it. Nigeria's solution is two ways. To me personally, you might believe me, you might not be, you must not believe what I'm saying. There are two ways. It's either voting the criminals out or revolution. All this Nina, all this, honestly, Nigeria, Nigeria is so spoiled. Nigeria is like the food that's spoiled and you put it in the freezer to freeze, to be blocked. You want it tomorrow, it's spoiled already.
And that is
so what I'm trying to say here now, all this stuff we're talking, Ninas, doing this, do that, it's, to me, I feel there are only two ways. I'm trying to get, if I can get the third method, the third ways of getting Nigeria fixed. Me, I feel is voting the criminals out. It will take longer time to do that, or revolution. And if those two things are not happening, I don't see any method happening. So if there is your place and the people and the rest of the people in the room, please, can someone play me a different scenario outside voting criminals out or revolution? Play me a scenario how you're
okay.
gonna play one after the other to the end
Abdul,
of where Nigeria will have
did
a
you hear
good
what I
method.
just? Did you hear what I when I submitted? That's not part of the two solutions you are bringing forth. And I've talked about enforcement of whoever breaks the campaign finance rules, which means nobody can use their personal money except the money that is allocated to them. And you think we are just talking on Clubhouse, right? Every revolution starts with talking. So the talking has started. There's a reason why you are here, right? If you won't be here if something is not important. And I can guarantee you there are millions of you that will probably hear these things. These things are on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Therefore, why do you think Pastor Tommy will come here? Why do you think all these so-called politicians are coming to Clubhouse? The thing is this, right? Go to bed before you wake up, the revolution will have passed. We are not wasting our time here. Something is actually happening on the ground. We just wanted to submit that. And their ideas, don't, I've just given you an idea that is not revolution and it's not voting them out. Why didn't you talk about that?
Let me. Very well said, G Baba. Abdul, I'd just like to reiterate something. I agree with you. The Nigerian system is spoiled. It, like you said, and I'll quote you. You said, put it in the freezer, freeze it, defrost it. It's still spoiled. And the reason why it's spoiled and rotten is because that it was the foundation itself was rotten. They never allowed referendum to be part of that process. So if you are going to talk about a system not working without changing it, whatever you do, it will remain bad. But when you're talking about what we're saying, what is right, this foundation is rotten, it's broken. We need to redraft it from scratch. I guarantee you that will work. So it's important because I know it's difficult to imagine Nigeria without this promulgation decree as the basis, and for many people. For me, it isn't. It is very, very clear for me to picture Yoruba Nation, picture Biafra, picture Middle Belt, to picture even Arewa, to picture it as people who have willingly voted via a referendum to go their separate ways. Because there is that center, what you call a center is not actually a center. It is an imposition. Because the center, for there to have a center, there have to be a commonality of the people voting for it. The people never voted for this center. And that is the problem. The people, I'm stating this categorically, the people never voted in any referendum, either way, to have this center, this one indivisible unit. That is a phrase of word coined by the 40 in the room for the promulgation decree, and they keep bringing it out. So they make you believe that we were all part of it. And that's the problem. So, Abdul, when you talk about this thing not working, that it will never, it is, yes, I agree with you. That is why we want to bring about the change. That is why what G Baba said in terms of the referendum, and in terms of what I said about bringing in the UN, in terms of also ensuring that the process is different from the actual inserting in the referendum, which we expect all who are in government now to now get their hands together and make sure it becomes a reality. One, two, the process. That process must be transparent. And that means the massive drive that we are trying to do now, raising the level of awareness in every corner of the South. And if the Northerners want to do that, fine. But in every corner of the South, we want everybody to know their right, to know that their voice matters, that they have a voice. Whatever they decide now has an impact on their future. And that is why they must participate in that process, in this process. So I hope that answers your question, Abdul. Or at least it throws some light on where we're going. And let's hear from others. I'm probably going to be, I'll be pulling back from this discussion because I need to go and I've got to go and do some swimming for my back. But I've thoroughly enjoyed this discussion. I'll be listening in between. The review, Corey, Olowo, Shango, Omo, Abdul, Will, Elu. I'm not quite sure if I saw the name well, but all of you and the listeners, I want to thank you all so much for being part of this. And I'll still be here, but I'm going to pull back now because I need to go and do some exercise. But thank you so much, and of course I'll be listening in. Thank you once again. Bye.
Hi, I've got a question for Abdul really, because you said the only solution is either by voting out the criminals or by a revolution. Maybe you'd like to expand a bit more on the revolution bit, but before you do that, if you just like to consider the voting option. Is the voting option or participating in the electoral process really a viable option to fixing the problem in your mind, considering what happens in every election? We know fully well during the elections that took Jonathan out of power and brought in Muhammadu Buhari, that those elections were marred with things like terrorism in certain states, and there were also things like children voting. And these are the things that we saw on video, people capturing children being used to vote. Now, coming back to, again, with regards to the voting, it's recent history what happened in the Imo State elections, where somebody won, they took it to court, and the decision of the people was overturned, and somebody who was not even in amongst the top three of the parties was basically put into power. Now, knowing this has happened, how do you still think that voting is a way that the problems will be solved? And secondly, expand a bit more on the revolution you're talking about. What sort of revolution is this? So those are two questions for you, if you can answer, please.
Yeah, I can answer. Well, let me answer the first one first. I think even in Clubhouse, we talk about the election in Anambra might be rigged. A lot of people are talking about it, and a number of people vote, and they voted the person they want in. I don't know if there's somebody from Anambra here. Do they vote the person they want? Please, can someone answer me that? But people are thinking APC will win the election there. They feel they will ring the election, and actually APC doesn't want that. So that shows that voting works in Anambra. Even it doesn't work in any place in Nigeria, it works in Anambra. Did that answer your question?
No, it doesn't. I asked you about what happened in Imo State.
That's what I'm telling you. You give an instance with Imo State, and I give you a reference with Anambra State. So does that solve the problem?
Well, no, still not.
Why are you guys standing now? They asked you about somewhere else. You are talking about somewhere else. Now, wow.
You're missing my point. I'm coming. If he said, Imo, this happened, we know. I know Nigerian election is rigged. I know. I even said it not quite long. You were there in the Gulag. I said Nigeria is completely fucked up when it comes to the election. I said it. I say it's completely fucked up. But we have to find a way to make it work. That's what I said. I didn't say Nigeria election is perfect. I never said so. I said there are two. Nigeria is in problem.
Okay.
Abdul,
Put them master. Yeah, my
Okay.
Yeah,
brother.
go ahead, go ahead,
Okay.
Field Marshal.
Good morning.
Okay. Good morning, brothers, sisters on the stage. This is Shishayo. Abdul, I know many of you are proponents of election on this clubhouse, and like many of us have been saying, we we have participated in election. I personally, I I used to be, I have a PC card. I am an APC card carrying member. So for even for anybody on any stage to say, oh, those people do not believe in it, they are violent, they are this. Most of us have participated in the election. We know about the election. We've been voting since 1999. We came from a political family, back in the days of CNC, in Nigeria. My father was a participant of election in Nigeria. But something is very, very sacrosanct to be said here is that if you look at the trend, just plot a graph that since we've been having an election, let's say since this republic, 1999, can you say that, oh, this is what has changed in the life of an average Nigerian? I'm talking about sectorally right now. Can you talk about power? Can you talk about electricity, hospital? Can you talk about good roads? Can you talk about education? That, oh, each time we change leaders, this sector keep improving or keep developing. Can you just vividly say something that this sector is better than what we used to have in 1999? Let's just go to basic economics. Look at the prices of goods in 1999. Look at what they are today. Can you say that yes, the Nigerian economy is, and it's also in the life of an average Nigerian, their standard of living has improved since 1999, or maybe their purchasing power has also improved. How do you live in an economy where the minimum wage is 30,000, and that 30,000 naira of your minimum, you cannot even feed on it for 1 week, and we are saying that, oh, we have been doing the same thing consistently for many, many years. Can we just change? Can we just look at the problem holistically and provide a solution? Now, we have looked at the problem. We have seen that we kept changing leaders, but we are not changing the structure. The structure is the problem, not the leaders. And what bring about the structure? The constitution. The constitution is what that needs to be changed, not the leaders. Because if leadership is actually the problem, maybe Buhari would have done better than Jonathan. But Jonathan actually did better. So each time we change leader, we keep going worse. If we change leader in 2023, Nigeria will still get worse. So I don't know why many of you just believe that, oh, election will automatically solve. Do you believe like the 2023 election will solve Nigerian problem because we have only voted for new set of thieves, or another big thief in the presidency is now there to change because of our peace?
Ladies and gentlemen, Citizen AY here. Thank you for listening to the broadcast. I'm going to be pulling away now. I need to go and do some swimming, hydrotherapy for my back and all of that. I'll be back later on. I might join some other broadcast. I'll be doing a show on Clubhouse tomorrow. I'll be doing I'll be doing a show on Clubhouse tomorrow where we're talking about the Constitution. I think the discussion is going to be about on the Constitution about 3 p.m. tomorrow. So I'll be sharing it. I'll be airing it simultaneously on both Citizen AY and Ududua TV Radio. So tune in on either platforms, and please continue to subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube, the platform where we speak truth to power. Currently, Facebook have blocked me, so I need to make sure we build the Citizen AY platform on YouTube so that if I need to do a broadcast or anything, we can continue. Yes, sure. Facebook have blocked me for a month, so 3-4 weeks from now, I won't be able to do anything on Facebook, but that's okay. We can do that on YouTube. And of course, I'll be using, Citizen AY, and of course, I'll be broadcasting on Dudua TV Radio as well. But please, I urge you all, subscribe to Citizen AY. Very, very important. For now, what's left for me to say is I thank you for joining me. Thank you for engaging in the important discussion that we had earlier on. And also, you saw we had Abdul. It's important to discuss with those who have opposing views to us, so we can hear their views, and that's what we've done now. And it just gives it sheds some more light on on our justness, our just cause. The fact it actually, the more that they put forward their opposition, the more it highlights, more importantly, why we're justified totally in going for Yoruba Nation, Biafra Nation, Middle Belt, and for the referendum. So what's left for me to say now is I want to thank you all very much for joining me. I'm going to end the broadcast here. I'll be back later on. You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. We only deal in one currency, truth. And of course, we are the Sorosoke generation. I thank you all for joining me. Tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. on Citizen AY, and I will be on Clubhouse again. And we'll have another discussion around the Constitution and maybe other things as well. 3 p.m. tomorrow. I'll put the invite out already, and I'll make sure, please do tune in 3 p.m. Join Citizen AY live then. Thank you and goodbye.